Hi Silcoates, it's Mrs. Elliot here. Whilst you've been settling back into school and getting busy, I have been working on a fantastic project that I want to tell you all about. My job in school is an exciting one. I get to be an outdoor explorer and find new ways for us to take our learning outside. Recently, I've been working with a charity called the Woodland Trust. The Woodland Trust look after trees in our country and plant new trees for the future. Now, I'm going to tell you a story all about trees and just how important they are. You need to listen carefully and I'll ask you some questions at the end. The pictures in this story are really cool. They're called woodcuts. Artists carve pictures or patterns onto a piece of wood, then cover it in ink and press it onto a piece of paper or cloth to create a picture. I hope you're sitting comfortably. Let's begin. The man who planted trees. 100 years ago, there was a man called Jean Paul who went on a long walk through the hills of southern France. The land wasn't very green. In fact, all he could see growing in these bare hills were scrubby bits of wild lavender and not very much else, certainly very few trees. Tired from a long walk, Jean-Paul came to a village. Unfortunately, he soon realised that it was empty. The ruined houses were huddled together and silent. There were no roofs to give protection from the wind that was blowing, no trees to shade him from the hot sun, and the natural spring water where the villagers used to get their water from had dried up. He'd had no water for ages, so he walked on to find a drink. After 5 more hours, he spotted a lone shepherd looking after his sheep. The shepherd had an old, kind face, and he was gentle. He gave the stranger a drink from his water bottle, then invited him to share some of his soup. The shepherd's name was Elzéard. They entered the shepherd's stone house, and Jean-Paul soon forgot the bleak and wild landscape outside. The house was clean, neat, friendly and warm. It was a safe place to rest for the night before carrying on his journey. After they had eaten, Elzéard fetched a little bag and emptied a pile of acorns onto the table. Then he began carefully separating the good acorns from the bad acorns. When he had collected a large enough pile of good acorns, he divided them up into groups of 10. And once he had sorted out 100 perfect acorns, he stopped and he went to bed. The next day, after taking care of his sheep, the shepherd took his little bag of acorns and dipped it into a bucket of water. Then off he went. Curious to see what Elzéard was going to do with the acorns, Jean-Paul went with him. Soon, Elzéard began making little holes in the ground, and he put an acorn into each hole and covered it back over with soil. Jean-Paul realised the shepherd was planting oak trees. He watched as the shepherd planted all 100 acorns with great care. Elzéard told Jean-Paul that he'd been planting trees in the wilderness for 3 years, and in that time he had planted a total of 100,000 acorns. The shepherd said that when he first came to the area, he noticed that this part of the country was dying. It had no trees, and having nothing better to do, he decided to put things right. Jean-Paul thanked the shepherd for his kindness and continued on his journey over the hills. 10 years later, Jean-Paul returned to the area. Can you guess what it looked like? This time, when he reached the deserted village, Jean-Paul could see that the landscape around him, that had once been empty, had been transformed by small trees. Wow! That's what a young forest looked like, he said to himself. He then saw the shepherd in the distance. They walked to where they had planted the acorns all those years ago to see young oak trees. They were taller than both of them now. Over the next few years, the young trees continued to grow and grow and grow until the area became a wonderful green forest. Families with children started returning to the area, and the wildlife came back too. Instead of rough gusts of wind blowing over an empty landscape, there were soft and scented breezes, the wind in the trees sounding like running water. And indeed water did flow once again from the springs that were dry, and people repaired the ruined houses. Hope returned and the area grew healthy again, all because of the man who planted trees. I hope you enjoyed the story. Here are some questions that you can chat about with your friends and with your teacher. What was the land like at the beginning of the story, before there were any trees? How did the shepherds plant the trees? What did the acorns grow into? What happened to the village when the trees started to grow? What would you rather? Live in a place with no trees and wildlife, or one with lots of trees and wildlife? Why? Great. Well done, everyone. Trees are so important to us, and the woodlands are a really fun place for us to play. Here are some interesting things that I have learnt about woodlands from listening to the story and from my friends at the Woodland Trust. So, there is always something new to find when you visit the woods. New flowers that are blooming, new wildlife, and even the leaves don't stay the same colour for very long. Woodlands change every season. Woods are a really fun place to explore and good places to exercise. They're good for walking, trees are good for climbing. And trees and woods are also fantastic places for wildlife. They provide shelter, shade and habitats, and food. Do you know any animals that live in the woods? Put up your hand and tell your teacher. Woods and trees clean our air. They absorb up the carbon dioxide that we breathe out and give us the oxygen that we breathe in. Woods and trees provide shelter from the sun and from the breeze, just like in the story. They also soak up the sunlight and they make the air cooler through their leaves. This helps to keep the planet cool and reduces the effects of climate change. Trees and woods drink up water through their roots. They help to reduce the impact of flooding by acting as little water reservoirs. Isn't that really cool? Trees also provide us with timber and wood products. Can you think of anything that we use that's made of wood? Look around your classroom. Trees can also provide a source of fuel, energy. For you older scientists, it's interesting to know that burning wood as a fuel source does not release or take up carbon dioxide. It's carbon neutral. See if you can find out what that means. Woods and trees don't just belong in the countryside. They are vitally important to people in towns and cities too, because they absorb air and noise pollution, and their shade keeps urban areas cool. See, Silcoates? Trees really are very important. Now, at Silcoates School, we have lots of trees. And as a junior school this year, we are going to try and do a little bit more to protect them and learn about them. We're going to be working towards the Woodland Trust's Green Tree School Award. And this is what we have to do. Each class is going to have some projects to complete. Each project is worth points, and when we get points we earn certificates and a special plaque for our school, a bronze, a silver, a gold or a platinum plaque. More than 10,000 schools are already working on getting their awards. Wouldn't it be cool if we could earn some awards too, by doing things like exploring the woodlands and the trees around our school and helping to take care of them? Hands up if you think we should give it a go. Great! Our lives are so much better with trees. So let's get started on our projects. I can't wait to see how you all get on.